All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to talk about Conor McGregor because he did a live stream yesterday from his pub in Ireland where he's talking to this guy he always talks to when he does these things that does the Mac life. And there was a lot of notable stuff in there, primarily exactly what he's training for and exactly what he thinks he's coming back to. Or, I mean, when I say what he thinks he's coming back to, odds are it is exactly what he's coming back to because it makes a lot of sense. Everyone involved benefits, and the road is kind of wide open for what he's doing. Also, I saw a clip of him hitting the pad or whatever, and he was practicing the kind of like the quick kind of pre-turn before your jab. Like he's here, and it's like from he's intentionally, kind of very intentionally going, whoom. Yep. Want that friction. Like the boom. Man, he was generating a lot of power on that jab, dude. A lot of power on the jab. He looks good. He looked good, and all he can do is practice boxing. And I'm very interested to see how he does when he comes back because he made some very interesting points in this live stream that we're going to talk about. And anyway, we'll get into it. But if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Maybe hit the notification bell so you know right when I upload. You know what else I'm going to talk about today? I'm going to talk a little bit more about this drama that I'm not even involved with even a little bit because I can't help it, dude. I don't like when external forces attack people inside the MMA community. I don't like it. Take it personally now, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But yeah, we're going to talk about that just a little bit. But anyway, so subscribe, ring the bell, then you'll know when I upload that. So here's the deal. So Conor was at his pub yesterday, and he's talking about where he's at. He's talking about his timing coming back. He's talking about what he's going to do, and he's talking about, and more than that, you get to hear what's in his mind, like what motivates him. And I've said this before. I was talking about this when Anthony was on, I remember, and it was less about like what he's thinking and more about how he thinks. It was just really interesting. And first thing is, Conor is enormous. Like he is huge. He looks like a different person almost. Like he's really, really big. Like it's like if you hadn't seen him since when he fought Dustin, you'd be like, damn, that guy looks like Conor, except just way bigger. Like that looks like a much bigger version of Conor, huh? No, that is Conor. What? That's not Conor. It is, dude. He's huge. He's huge. Just sitting there, like, he's got an arm out. It's just like, tail. But long story short, he's coming back to fight Kamaru Usman. That's what he's doing. Like, he's coming back to fight Kamaru, and he's going to go right into that title fight. Believe that. Now, there was another thing that came out today, actually, as a side note, of someone saying, put me on the August card with Kamaru and Leon Edwards. Now, can you imagine the slight, I don't even know what you would even call it, the poetic justice. And I'm not rooting for this. I like Kamaru a lot. I like Kamaru. I like everybody I like everybody at the, Ali's team. I like everybody that he trains with out there. I like everybody he trains with out there. Florida and Colorado. I got nothing but love for all those guys. But can you imagine if Leon Edwards beat Kamaru and then Leon Edwards got the Conor fight? Can you imagine that? After all the shit Leon Edwards has taken, the most like introverted guy in the UFC while simultaneously running through everybody, and it's like, and then he slides into a Conor fight. Can you imagine the build up to that fight? I almost can't even do an imitation because it would just that would be one of the most lopsided like verbal shellackings of all time. I can't, like, that would actually almost be hard to watch, I think. But anyway, but I do know, or I have heard rumors that Kamaru thinks he's fighting Conor too, and he would certainly know better than I would. But and then now he's doing the thing with his hand. He's like, "Ooh, geez, my hand it's healing so slow." I'm gonna probably have to wait until Q1 2023. They're all, when's Conor supposed to come back? He's all Q1 2023. Oh, look at that. But so Conor is talking about that, and Conor kept on saying, like, Conor thinks, what I'm talking about, what I'm alluding to is Conor thinks in terms of legacy. That's how Conor thinks. And so he was talking about guys like, the conversation started with Jose Aldo going down to 135, and the guy was saying, he's like, when Aldo went down to 135, no one really believed in him. You were the one guy who said, he's a champion. I think he could do well, and I'm rooting for him. And you know, Aldo looks awesome. And he's done really well. If Aldo wouldn't have fought Jan as early as he did, you know, he did 135. He fought against Marlon Moraes. That he should have won that fight. They gave it to Marlon. They gave him an immediate title shot anyway because it was kind of like, wow, we could probably hype. You know, at 35, they were kind of up in the air because, you know, Triple C abandoned the division. And so in their mind, they're like, okay, this is a big name. Let's just get him in there with Jan. And in hindsight, given how the things have gone since then, imagine the hype behind that fight. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Imagine the hype behind a Jan and Aldo fight, or an Aldo and Aldo should fight Aljamain. That's what I think. I like that fight because Aldo if he could become champion again, that'd be amazing. Sorry, I'm sidetracked all of a sudden. That just hit me that they should have Aldo fight Aljamain. And then if Aldo wins, then he fights TJ, and then, you know, eventually Jan's going to have to get back in there. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. But yeah. And I'm rooting for Aljamain. I don't like how he's taking so much shit. Like anyway. Sorry about that. Back to Conor. So Conor thinks in terms of legacy, right? Where he said, think of how amazing it would be if Aldo won the title at 135. And he said, and that's what's driving me. Imagine when I knock out Kamaru Usman. Imagine the legacy, the first time someone's been the champion at 3 weight divisions and won all 3 by knockout. And that's how he thinks about it. He frames things in terms of legacy. Like his fight career, he thinks of things in terms of legacy. And that's just an interesting note because the great ones do that, you know, the really great ones that you're going to remember. That's how they think. You know, I don't actually think, I think Conor is much more concerned with legacy than Khabib. Like, I think Khabib wanted to be champ. He wanted to make sure that in his time, he was the champion. And there was no disputing it. He fought everyone. No one was on his level, and then he's done and he moves on. I think he's way less concerned about legacy than Conor is. Like, I think Conor is a legacy guy, you know? And there are certain people that are just wired for that. You know, if you listen to like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like if you go back and you watch Pumping Iron, you know, the early, like the thing that put him on the scene when he was just like, you know, Mr. Olympia 6 straight times, that was going to go for 7 or whatever it was. And he talks about that. He's like, think about these people that everyone remembers them forever. Think about Jesus, and the whole world knows who they are. Think about, you know, Leonardo. He's talking about all these like historically relevant figures and how important that was to, like, that's how he thought about himself, was like being a historically relevant person, you know? Like, I don't give a fuck about that personally. And that's how I know that, like, I'm not wired like them. You know, I am definitely as competitive. Like, as an example, the way I look at this, like what I'm doing now is once I really get into the mix, I want to have one of the top podcasts in the world, if not the best one in the world, top. But once I'm dead, I don't care. I don't care. Like, what do I care? I want to leave money to my family, have them live comfortable. But there's a different wiring for some people that really, like, the legacy thing is what it's about for them. It's like, put your stamp on history. And that's how Conor thinks about it. It's really interesting. And he thinks he's going to knock out Kamaru, which would have to be the way that he would win. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right now, can you imagine how excited you would be for that fight? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if it's me, and Conor's going to fight Kamaru Usman in 2 weeks, dude, I wouldn't sleep for 2 weeks. I'd be so fired up. Goddamn, tickets to that show are going to be fucking expensive, yo. But we'll be there. So we will be there. Might have to bump the price on those so that we can actually sit in the stadium. But yeah, like, you know, one thing that I noticed about Conor yesterday is, you know, he always, like, his energy is very, like, he's got one of those personalities where you can feel his energy, you know, like that's why he's so popular. You can really feel him. Like, he's talking, you can feel it. And I've always thought that, like, he has like a really positive air about him, you know, like, even, you know, people get mad and whatever. And like, sometimes but like when you actually just sit down and watch him, he has a real positive, magnetic air about him. And yesterday I was watching, I was like, dude, this guy has hit this different level, like where he's such a big shot now that his energy's different. And I don't mean like, you know, like to me, I'm saying him, like his energy that he puts out is different now. he's smiling. He's saying all the same things. He's slapping people on the back. But I don't know. There's something different about him to me, man. And believe me, nothing. I would consider it a tremendous honor to hang out with Conor. I think he's a fucking badass. I mean, I don't know about it. Honor's weird. I don't say shit like that about people. But I would be excited to hang out with Conor. I'm sure we would have a really good time. But there's something about his, he's such a big shot now. And I don't mean that as a neg. He's legitimately such a big shot that his energy almost makes me nervous. He looks like a guy who's smiling, ha ha ha. And then if you cross him, he's like, ha 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 ha. Put your hand on that table. He looks like he's one sideways sentence from you away from him hammering your hand. I'm serious, dude. That's what I got from him yesterday. Well, it's he's smiling. He looks like he's a happy guy. He's winning at everything. But Jesus, man, he would take a fucking hammer to a person that said something negative about him in his face. I really I even the way he's I don't know. Maybe I'm misinterpreting that, but that's what I was watching yesterday. I was like, geez, he's just as magnetic. He's a little bit scary now. I don't know how else to describe that. But I wonder if Kamaru's scared, because Kamaru's going to fight him. Going to make a lot of goddamn money too, doing it. I will be excited to watch, because I will always be excited to watch Conor. I can't imagine there ever being a time when I would root against Conor. I just can't even imagine it, because the guys that are so exciting, you always want to, I just want them to win, because the sport is more exciting when he's in it and he's in the mix. It's that simple. That's why a Kamaru versus Conor fight would be so fun, dude. Because it's just the imagination is what if he won, dude? What if he actually knocked out Kamaru? Now, Kamaru's walked through his last, 20 opponents. So the odds are slim. But guess what? Aldo hadn't lost in 100 years when Conor knocked him out. He does magic things, dude. He does magic things. Anyway, Conor, don't hammer my hand, dude. Okay? I'm not the one to have my what? I'm not the one to have my hand hammered. I'm also pretty good at not pissing people off when I don't want to. But anyway, that's what I got. Peace.